Welcome to Mercury Young Company's podcast. Today we're interviewing Pam Donnelly. Pam is Chief Executive of Colchester City Council and has been a member of the executive team at the council for over 15 years and has previously held senior positions at Anglia Ruskin University and in banking and finance. As Chief Executive, Pam leads one of the largest and most dynamic local authorities in the region through the launch of an ambitious new strategy in April 2022 and beyond.
Pam, welcome to the Mercury Young Company. We are doing various projects to celebrate Colchester City status from the perspective of young people. Thank you for joining us today on our podcast.
Hi Pam, can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes, it's my pleasure. First of all, it's great to be here. I'm Pam Donnelly, and as you say, I'm the Chief Executive of Colchester City Council, but of course, I'm much more than that. So the really interesting part of my life is my family. So I'm married to Ray and have been for many years, we'll stop counting. And I have two children. I have Sean, who's in his early 30s, living sadly in Australia. And I have Grace, who lives in London, and she's just qualified as a lawyer. However, the really exciting news is that 3 weeks ago I became a grandma. So that is exciting, and if you're very good, I'll show you a picture later. And I'm off to see my first grandson in Sydney, and I'm flying 21 hours non-stop to get there. That's how keen I am to see him.
So what do you do at the council?
I sometimes wonder, Blake. So my job as Chief Executive has to be one of the most interesting jobs around. Certainly one of the most interesting in the public sector. So it involves organising all of what we call our elected members. These are people that residents over 18 can elect to represent the city. And so that's one of my jobs, making sure that that all works well. But another really important job is managing 1,000 staff who do a variety of different roles, really, really important roles, like making sure that your bins are emptied every week, that the streets are clean, and that your communities are safe. But then at the other end of the scale, I get involved in, as you mentioned, setting strategy, making sure there's a really strong future for the city, making sure that we've got the money to pay for all the services that you and I'm a resident, I live in Colchester, that we consume. What changes are we making? So we have a plan. Hopefully you'll be relieved to hear that. One of the elements of that plan is to make sure that Colchester is as green and environmentally safe as it can be. So making sure the place is clean, the air is clean, that's really important. And there are parts of Colchester where I don't always feel that's the case. But one of the most important things we do, and I get to do and influence, is housing. So if you're very fortunate, you will live in a warm, dry, secure, safe home. But there are thousands that don't. And we are responsible, as much as we can do, for making sure that those that are disadvantaged and have been denied a home for whatever reason, that is provided for them.
Are you planning to make spaces and opportunities for young people?
We absolutely are, and there's a range of ways that we do that. There's the bright, shiny, glitzy developments that are going on in the Northern Gateway. I don't know if you know where I'm talking about, but near the stadium, the Northern Gateway. So there's some great opportunities there for people to enjoy themselves, so sporting activities, as well as a brand new cinema and places to eat with family and friends. But not everyone in Colchester, not every child in Colchester can have that experience. So what we're really keen to do is to make sure our green spaces, all our country parks. So for the type of child that I've been concerned about that doesn't have a decent home, who can't get access to good education, that's an opportunity for them to have free access to green space.
Do you have any plans to make Colchester more of an eco-friendly city?
Yes. And without going into the detail of all the politics, it is a priority, in other words, a number one goal for the politicians in Colchester. One of their top priorities is a cleaner environment. And that means working with the bus companies, because those buses are simply not clean enough, making sure that there are safe places for you to cycle to school and to your activities. Safe places, not on the edge of a road, and that we encourage people with our walks, making sure that our money goes into that as much as it does building a car park and creating a new road.
What are you doing to attract more visitors to Colchester?
We've got some natural assets, would be part of my answer, but we need to encourage people to know about us. So one of the benefits of being a city is that when, and your parents may have done this, you're booking a city break, you don't look up town breaks, you look up on the internet, you look up city breaks, and we now appear. So that's one of the ways in which more and more people will come to enjoy what we have every day.
Why do you think this master plan will be good for Colchester?
Well, it brings us slap bang up to date with what residents want. So the old roundabout at St Botolph's is an eyesore. It's not a safe place for people to walk through. It does attract some people who have their own challenges. In other words, many of the people who choose to meet there have alcohol addiction, drug addiction, and the environment itself, the way that space is built, encourages that. So it's about opening up, making sure that the master plan reflects your question about making Colchester cleaner, makes cycling and walking an equal priority to getting in your car. So it's really about bringing Colchester up to date so that the whole city is more in keeping with what the residents, you, for the future, will want.
Why do you want to develop Colchester?
Because in my view, no place, no person should stand still. If things stand still, they go a bit stale, don't they? And ultimately they fade away and become irrelevant. And we can't allow that to happen to our city. And young people like you expect very different things from the current generation. So we need to grow and develop so that ultimately we meet the needs of your generation.
What are you going to do about the dying high street?
I don't believe it is dying. It's just going through a bit of a sleep. So since we've had COVID, the pandemic, everything's changed. The way people shop, the way they behave, what they think is important, absolutely everything has changed. And therefore they want to use the high street in a different way. And I think they want to use it to enjoy themselves, to have a coffee, a drink. I believe there's a new sushi bar on the high street. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, you clearly like sushi. And there's lots of new cafes and restaurants, but there's also places where people can enjoy leisure activities. So I think we are going through a lull, a little bit of a sleep, as we reinvent it rather than seeing the high street dying.
Yeah.
Now for the quick fire round.
Okay.
What's your favourite movie?
Mamma Mia.
Who are your role models?
My head teacher. I spent the first 6 months of my life in care, and she told me, and I believed her, that I could achieve anything I wanted. And so the values that she shared with me, I think are the same values that you need in public life if you're going to work in public life.
If you're a superhero, what power would you have?
I think you could probably guess at this. I would make sure that every child in the world went to bed with a full tummy and slept in a nice clean bed and woke up in a safe, dry, warm home.
Thanks so much, Pam, for chatting to us today. It's been really interesting to hear more about our city status.
Yeah, we love our new city. We are proud to be Colchesterians. Have a great evening.
We've been NYC.
And you've been brilliant!